Good morning, good morning. We meet once again on yet another Friday to continue with another session of the Youth Forum's Conversations, which is powered by the Co-operative Bank. We have been doing this for the last 3 months, every Friday from 11 a.m. And the whole purpose is to make sure that we are equipping young people with the right skills that they need as they venture into business, entrepreneurship, and employment as well. Now, just in case you've missed out on any of our conversations, you do not have to worry. All you have to do is go back to our social media platforms, Co-Bank on Facebook, X, and YouTube as well, and you will be able to catch on all the fantastic, educative, impactful conversations that we have had. Now, my name is Violetta Ngina, also known as the International Mkulima, and it's always a great pleasure being with you every single Friday. Now, just before I unpack what we're about to handle today and also introduce our guests to you, now let's do a quick recap of what last week was. We did have two young gentlemen, Brian and Solo, and they are young people building sustainable, profitable businesses by themselves. And we did have an expert who was shedding more light on the do's and don'ts for young people as they get into the space of entrepreneurship. Now, today we will be focusing on youth in employment. We know how hard it is to get a job. Sometimes you have to send CVs, you have to think of what is the best hobby to write here. Saa zingine utaenda hata uombe suti, mwingine hata hajawahi vaa heels in their life, but because they are going for an interview, they have to borrow that pair of heels, and then now you wait for that call that could change your life. Sometimes you get it, sometimes you don't, but when you get it, now you have the job. What happens after that? How do you grow? That's the conversation that we will be having today. And to shed more light on that, we are joined by Betty Nyaberry, who is product head at Craft Silicon. She has been in this role for 2 years. Alianza kazi at a junior position. 3 months later, she became a product head. Good morning, Betty.
Good morning, Dina.
Thank you so much for being here with us this morning. And we really want to learn how to grow the ranks, all right? So 3 months junior position, next thing you're a product head. So you'll be guiding us through that, Cynthia.
Definitely.
Great. And we also do have Emmanuel Shichende, who is a customer success manager, specifically financial sector in the banking space. This was his first job after education. Cynthia, baada ya kumaliza shule akapata hii kazi, but now the new role that he's at, he's been there for 7 months. Good morning,
Good
Emmanuel.
morning, Dina. How are you?
Thank you so much for being with us
Thank
today.
you so much.
Yeah, there's so many people who clear school and then they tarmac for quite a long time. So you'll help us learn a bit of skills here and there that can help us shorten the tarmacking period.
If we can.
All right, great. Thank you so much. And also, this conversation will not be complete without the voice of an expert. And today we do have with us Anne Kihuria. She is a human resource expert, and she will be shedding more light on what we need to do as young people to make sure that we are getting the jobs that we want. And once we get the jobs that we want, how do we handle ourselves while we are there? Also, just as we start, do I really need to put my hobbies kwa CV? I can swim, I can run. What else? What's your hobby? Singing. Yeah. And then I'm applying for a job in a bank, like Emmanuel. Do they really need to know if I can run?
Unaweza zieka hapo. They help us see the personality that we are hiring.
Right.
So hazina ubaya hapo.
Hazina ubaya. So ni sawa tu kuzieka hapo. Kama tuseme I can run from problems. Alright, great. So remember, this conversation is not just for us. We'd like you who's watching us across the different social media platforms on Facebook, on YouTube, on X, and all those who are joining us on Zoom as well. We'd like for you to participate by sending in any questions that you do have regarding employment and how to handle yourself once you get that job. And we will be more than happy to sample your feedback and answer any questions that you have. Now, without much further ado, let's dive deep into the conversation. Just on a light note, Betty, can you remember how old you were when you got that first proper job? Unajua kuna tule tukazua tunajaribu hapa kule trying to put things together, but then finally you get that corporate job that you've always wanted. How old were you?
I was 23.
23 years
Yes,
old.
I was 23 years old.
Great. Emmanuel, how old were you?
24 going on 25, I believe.
Right.
Yeah.
So did you send CVs? Unajua kuna kuanga na ile procedure.
Yes.
You go to campus, then you're going to intern somewhere at some point, then after that, let the tamacking begin.
Yes.
And I don't feel like they prepare us enough for that
Hapana.
period of tamacking.
Zero.
But we learned and got ahead with it. So just tell us, for you, Betty, how did you finally manage to get that first proper job for yourself at 23 years? Was there a process of writing CVs, knocking on different doors, several no's here and there? Ama wewe ni one of those just lucky girls who, you know, you've put in the work, but also ni kama tu kuna grace flani na kufuata. Yeah.
Thank you so much for the question. First, before we talk about that, my journey hasn't been linear before school and after school. Because I remember when I joined school, I wanted to become an air hostess at Mount Kenya University. But along the way, I discovered my strength in communication and presentation skills during my time as a student leader. So along the way, I also came up with my own feeding program. Then later I came to realize that I can actually tap into more opportunities in the market after school. So after school, I delved into, like I said, my first job was in a call center that is where I used to earn 25,000 shillings at 23 years old. Then I delved into banking, IT, then fintech.
Right.
So my journey is going to basically just tap into taking initiative and of course being intentional and networking.
Right.
So even when I was getting my first job, networking got me there. My friend introduced me to that opportunity, and definitely when I got to that interview stage, I was able to stand up for myself. I talked about my little experience in school, definitely of becoming the Miss Mount Kenya University.
Right.
And definitely I know I got that job because of my personality and
Right.
how I express myself.
Right.
So it was not hard for me, and I didn't send any CV. I just walked in, stood up for myself, expressed myself, and I got the job.
So a network, someone introduced you there, alafu ukaitiwa interview, and then hapo ukamua kushine. And you got the job.
Yes.
After how many days did you get the wonderful call of, hi, we are happy to inform you that you got the job? How long did it take?
The interview was on Thursday, and I started the job on Monday the next week.
Hello.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. So here we are learning hakutuma CV, but a referral and recommend.
Yeah.
She stood out in the interview. 2 days later, she was on the job.
Yes.
Come on now, Emmanuel.
Man.
The pressure is getting worse.
Well, and I think the pressure for me from day one. Here you are, you finished uni. I'm just your normal guy, msewa gumboots.
Yes.
I believed I was going to become a billionaire by selling eggs, kuuza njugu, and doing gardening for people.
Yeah.
And I was like, by the way, this is my calling. I'm
Yeah.
good. But life has a way. Wazazi are there, they give you some pressure kidogo, and it's like, hey, brother, so what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
1, 2, it goes on for months, and I have nothing. And so an opportunity shows up. Now baba ndo huyo anasema, kijana, this one you're not letting go. So here I am, I have to craft a CV, obviously with help of people. Now what do I write? As you've said, do I put my
So did
hobby?
he introduce you to the person where the opportunity came from, or how did it
No,
come?
so ideally positions are shown and they are sent. So when people share on WhatsApp, sometimes Facebook imewekwa, there you are. And your parents are there. It's like, my guy, this has come up to my CV. So that's what happened. So from there, I ended up crafting a CV, obviously with the help of very many people, putting hobbies, swimming, cutting grass. That's what I like to do. But talking about my history in school as well. And from there, I was called for the interview.
Right.
Once I was called for the interview, that took place. Nerves into hizo. You're wondering how you'll do. And then after a few months, I managed to get a position.
Right. So
bank.
after you sent your CV, how long did it take before they called you for the interview?
For the interview, it took around 2 weeks.
All right. And after the interview, how long did it take before the fantastic call came through?
It took like 4 to 6 weeks.
4 to 6 weeks, right. But finally you got the job.
Nilipata.
All right.
Yeah.
Great. And there you go.
Yeah.
Moja hapa, no need for a CV, but they were referred to by someone. Na huyu ni mtu ambaye alikuwa ameona the potential that she has and how hardworking she is. And then here we have Emmanuel ametuma CV. 6 weeks later, got the job. So sometimes we as young people get it very wrong, even from the CV. Unaweza kuta you know what you're supposed to do, you have the skill, lakini what we write kicks us out, because watu wengi pia apply for that job, all right? So tell us, if I want to make sure I'm crafting the best CV, nimeona opening mahali, what are those pointers that need to be there, and what are the common mistakes you've seen us young people make when it comes to writing and submitting our CVs?
Yeah. So the CV is very important because it's the one that tells us to have interest in you.
Okay.
So things like even formatting of the way you formatted your CV, the details that we are looking for, if we're asking for specific skills, does your CV showcase the skills that you have?
Right.
So we'll be looking at, do you meet the skills that we are looking for? When we post the applications, there are things that we list for you. You need this kind of level of education, you need this kind of experience. So we are looking at, are they meeting the criteria that we are looking for?
Right.
So the hobbies are good. I like the question about the hobbies.
It's okay to write cutting grass.
Yeah, because hobbies tell us a bit about you. We've not met you yet, even at the interview, but we can quickly tell. Now, if I look at somebody who is showing sports, something sporty, it will tell me quickly that probably you're good with discipline or teamwork. If you're creative, it will show me that there's about a lot of innovation in this person. So that will, of course, it will not be the core thing that we look for. So is it matching the skills that we're looking for?
Great.
Yeah.
So it's good to analyze the personality.
Yeah.
All right. Na hapo chini mahali tunaandikanga referees.
Yeah.
All right. The
Yes.
people, how important is that part? How many should I write? Na kama huyo referee pengine unaandika mtu ambaye used to work in an organization that used to be previously and they are no longer there. Is it okay? So help us understand how the referees part should be.
Okay. So ideally you should have about 3 referees on your CV. The referees are what we use or what employers use to do a reference check. We want to check the background of this person.
Okay.
Who are we hiring? What is their character? How have they been performing in other places? So it's just something for us to check.
All right.
And just know that we are hiring the right person.
Right. So a minimum of 3 people.
Yeah,
or a
3 is
maximum
okay.
of 3.
3 should be fine.
3 should be fine. Great. All right, so coming back to you, now you have the jobs. 2 days later, you got the job. 6 weeks later, you got the job.
Yes.
What was day 1 like? All right, pressure ambao you feel when you were getting there. How do you feel your first days in this new job that you've prayed and fasted for? How was it like?
The first day was okay for me. I'm a very confident girl. And I always believe in myself, even if I don't understand anything that I'm going to do in that organization. I just sit down, believe in myself, go through the documents that have been sent to me. I read hard. Once I get the job, I just do the job.
Right.
But it was exciting because it was a fast-paced environment, and that's the first time I was able to understand how a structured environment works. And the best thing is that you have to learn things quickly. So even before I proceed to that, allow me to take you back. I needed to ask Anne a question. Anne?
Yes.
From the CV, don't you think that some people are usually very good during interviews, then once they get the job, they're really poor at their jobs?
Yeah.
So sometimes I usually feel like the CV is not everything when it comes to hiring an employee, because sometimes a person might not have any experience, they might be so bad during the interview, but once they get the job, they perform better than that person who had so much in terms of qualifications. So what's your take on that with regards to you as a HR professional?
Yeah. So what happens, there's a probation period. So there's like a test period where the person who has been hired is put to test. We're checking, are you able to do the job? Are you able to deliver? Do you have the discipline and the right attitude to do the job? So that's not the end, like now being hired. So there's also a test period that is there, so that now we check, are you really fit for the job?
All right.
Yeah.
Great.
Thank you.
So coming to you, Emmanuel, now
Yeah.
that we are speaking about your testing period,
Yes.
the probation,
Yes.
unaambiwa umepata job, you're given your offer letter, but bado there is a 3 months or a 6 months that you are on high surveillance.
Yes.
Wanakuangalia to every movement you make, it's being, inaangaliwa kabisa.
Yeah.
So I want you to talk to us about your probation period. Did you go through that? Was it 3 months? Was it 6 months? And did it give you some sort of pressure?
Yes.
Yeah.
I think for me, nikianza, first of all, day 1. Uko hapo, you've never worked for any institution.
Yeah.
I've never done internships. So this is proper mini fresher into the job market. So you get in, obviously, since I had entered the branch where things are very cash-based. Kuna limitations because hawezi pea tu box with money, and it's
Yeah.
like serve a customer. Things don't work like that
Yeah.
within a bank. So here you are, when the paper boy sasa, printer, go print this, scan this for me, help this customer, help that customer. And that was basically like most of the 6 months. Obviously at the bank, they're also training you at the same time. So unaenda shule, nafanya a bit of learnings to be able to know how things function, what it is that governs the bank. But from there, at the end of the day, when you come back, you're doing what you'd call, or somebody would consider, kazi ya wasi wadogo. But at the end of the day, you just have to learn.
Right.
And so that was me through it all. Unaangalia, you watch how people serve, you watch how papers are scanned. What are you actually scanning? And so me, that was now where my inquisitiveness came out.
Right.
It's like, why are you scanning this? Kwa nini? Why are you printing that? What are the needs of printing it and keeping it in a file? All those aspects.
Right.
So those were my first probation years.
Right.
And I think that's mainly to check who you are. Hata kama unaweza fanya kazi,
Yeah.
if you can help out, but you do your job.
Right.
And I'm being paid at the end of the day. So who am
Niko
I?
tu sawa.
Niko sawa.
So what I'm picking from you is a positive attitude during that probation period. Hata ukipatiwa kazi yenye una feel, but I'm supposed to be doing something different. Ukitumwa tu kuprint vitu, just go and print well.
Yeah.
Sindio?
Yeah.
All right, so now let's talk about negotiating how much you want to get paid. All right, so you go there, you said your first job walikuwa nakulipa 25,000.
Yes.
Were you okay with that? Was that the offer? Had you negotiated it? And same for you, Emmanuel. Would like for you to help us understand as a young person. Yes, nimetuma CV. They like what I have presented. I did well in the interview. But then now comes the money part. All right.
Yeah.
So am I allowed to negotiate it a bit? Ama hii ni my first job. Ama hii my dream job. What nyenyekee kwanza? I'll just grow pole pole.
Yes.
So just help us understand the conversations around money. Betty, I'll start with you.
Remember, like I said, I was so green. I didn't understand anything about the corporate field. So I didn't even know that you're supposed to negotiate salary to begin with. So when I walked there, the lady told me that they usually pay at least 18,000 for such roles in a call center. So you just, when you walk in, just accept any salary.
Okay.
And I'd never seen 25,000 shillings in my account every month. So I told them, yeah, sure, I'm going to take that amount. Because they were like, can you take a job that pays you 25,000 net every month? And I was like, sure. When can I start the job?
Right.
And I got the job. So I didn't have any room for negotiation because I felt that's quite a good amount of money for someone that just finished school and starting out in her career.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nikajipanga na hiyo 25,000.
Now ukagrow pole pole.
Nikagrow pole pole.
Because I know now it has not only doubled but tripled and quadrupled.
That was a lot of money for 23-year-olds.
All right.
Yeah.
So coming to you, Emmanuel,
Yeah.
I'd like for you to talk to us about if you've had that space where now you can renegotiate your salary. And that's also because tukiangalia your journey, you've grown in the last 7 months. You've been a manager, customer success space. So just help us understand, Kama, even during that time when you're getting promoted, did you have that opportunity to renegotiate your salary? Is that something that someone can do? Ama unapatiwa pake venye itakam? Sindio?
Wacha nikwambie, especially since some of us are fresh. But similar to Betty, having people around that you can consult with. It's like, hey, by the way, e-roll, what's the general price range or income range? That happened when I first entered. So when I got, because I ask you to write, how much do you want to? And that time you're writing with confidence, but when that offer letter comes, it's stated clear as day. But if it's in the ballpark, unanyenyekea tu, you say thank you, it is what it is. Especially since it's your first salary. But growing through the ranks as well, it's been good to have people in the office and out of the office that you can bounce off. It's like, hey, by the way, I'm going to this position. How much do you think is suitable for this role? Because you hear what the income range is. If you then realize that the income range or what you're being offered ni chini, now that's where I think, but I haven't gotten there.
Okay.
So niko sawa at the moment. But I believe in the aspect of even learning from professionals, people that have been there, that you can actually go to HR and say, hey, by the way, I'm seeing that the workload and what I'm doing is way more. Is there a way that I can get a further increase? As long as it's within reasonable amounts, I believe.
Great. Thank you for that. Anne, we're throwing it back to you. Me nimeitwa interview and then that question comes, how much would you like to be paid? Utaki kustate nyingi sana, hata kama unataka hiyo mingi sana kwa sababu unaogopa to throw them off, you really want the job. Also pia utaki ikue kidogo sana because at the end of the day tunaishi town. Maisha ya town ni expensive. You also want some money. So how do you strike the balance? Hauko chini, hauko juu sana, you don't scare them off, and if they already give you the offer, this is what we want to pay you, and you feel like I want more than this. How do I politely ask for that more? And is it even allowed in the first place? Ama kwanza ningoje nifanye kazi kwa kampuni, I grow and then I now can start asking for more money.
Yeah, thanks. So usually, ikiwa job ya kwanza, sana people don't negotiate because you're really tamaking. So ukipata job, sana it's like, phew, nimepata job. So you really don't go into the negotiating space immediately. But along the way, ukisha ingia, you see, oh, I am doing much more and I think I need to be paid more. The place of negotiation comes in when you have value to give. Because if you're coming to me to negotiate for a higher pay, show me value. So when you're negotiating, you make more inroads if you have value to show that I am offering this and this and this, I'm doing this, you have seen my work, it is showing. So then now you can, of course, ask for a rise. And I like what Emmanuel was saying. You do your homework. You want to find out watu wenye wanafanya hii kazi wanalipwa nini. Then unaangalia yako and you're like, okay, then I have a place to negotiate based on what I'm offering. So it's, you negotiate from a place of value.
So once I join and I start feeling like now I can renegotiate my salary because I'm doing this, I've added this value to this place, this skill I'm bringing to this organization is very important. Inafaa kuchukua kama how long? Kwa sababu naweza andikwa kazi leo, after 3 months nione hiyo skill iko, na hiyo kazi iko. Ndio hiyo mimi kwa HR, ndio hiyo mimi kwa director, knock. Niko na, you understand? So nijipatie also what time frame yenye ita make sense ya kwanza sasa kufika hiyo level ya kwenda kwa the directors and the HR to renegotiate the salary.
So it depends on what organization you're working for. Sometimes growing your salary is not as easy, you know, as to say that nitaenda kusema niko na value. Of course, organizations have budgets, they have cycles where, you know, salaries increase. So it's also for you to be reasonable to see how long is it, but focus on growing your skills. Once the skill has grown, you will know by this time niko na kitu ya kunegotiate nayo.
Great. So remember we said this conversation is not just for us. We want to include you as much as possible. And now I do want to read some of the feedback and questions that we have coming in through our social media platforms. We have one here, Daisy, who's streaming in on Zoom. And Anasema, how do you balance helping family and saving when you start working? Hapo naona ni kama kuna issue ya black tax kidogo inaingia. All right, so we'll be definitely responding to that. Another question that we have coming through across our social media platforms, and thank you all so much actually for being with us on the platform. So as we wait for more feedback to come in so we can read it at once, I'd like to go to Betty. Unasikia mtu hapa anasema ameanza kazi, alafu sasa kuna familia kuwasaidia, bado niko na savings, bado niko na bills. How do you manage that? Is that something that has happened to you, Lembaka? You're feeling, now I'm stretched too thin, I need to find a way.
Okay. First, I'd like to comment that we come from different backgrounds, and some people have been privileged enough and some have not. So, and I've seen some conversations on social media where most people are actually struggling with black tax. You'd find that you're the only one who's educated in your family, and you're supposed to pay for your siblings' education, the school fees and all that. But wanambia mtu, it's good to have a balance and have that conversation with your parents. Unajua watu wengi wakiona umefika Nairobi wanaona huyu amemake it. It's like the same way ukipata green card leo, people will think that you're having it easy in the US, but it's not actually the case. So the balance comes from how you are as an individual. Do you have that conversation with your parents? Are you open about what you're being paid? Are you open about your bills and what you can and what you cannot do? It's good to have that conversation with your parents, because if you don't, they will have that over dependency on you, even as you keep growing. So conversations are very good to have it with your parents.
And can I put a line, eka boundary mahali, will the family not feel bad? Also, will I not feel guilty? Will they cut me off? You know, sometimes you're just scared. If I stop, and then you know, families have that thing of mimi ule aunti yako nilikuwa nakuosha ukiwa mdogo. Ndio hiyo sasa ushapewa guilt tripping in moto kama pasi, and they're calling and you want to help them, but you also want to grow, you want to invest and you want to save. How do you draw that line without hurting anyone and still, you know, doing what's right?
And black tax is a reality. Na huwezi anza kusema ati hauta support watu, especially when you know that where you have gotten to is because ulisaidiwa na watu. So there is also that line that you have to draw, because ukipeana zote ushindwe hata kupata fare ya kwenda job, you start straining yourself. So it's to just be honest and say, I want to help, but this is how far I can help for now. As I grow, I can, maybe if your income becomes higher, you can give more support. So it's to balance, like Betty is saying, because you don't want to also strain yourself so much, but you also don't want to forget where you have come from. So that now ukange wewe ulipata kiburi, you know, and all those things that people say is humanly possible. How can you help, but also check on yourself that you're not overgiving to the detriment, to your detriment. That's sasa unashindwa kufanya job.
Great. All right, thank you for that. So we have to have those conversations and also draw some boundaries. Help, but don't forget yourself. All right, great. So Leonard on Facebook anasema, I had serious imposter syndrome during my first month. How do you deal with imposter syndrome at work? Emmanuel?
Where? Depends. I think there's a lot, but let me say this. I think for me, the aspect of just being true to who you are and being able to have a group of friends and family that keep you in check. So for me, I talk a lot. So I'll go to my folks and it's like, hey, Kofisi, I felt I had to act this way, talk this way. It's like, why are you doing that? Well, these are the tough questions, by the way. And I think that helps challenge you. And it now becomes second nature, where even before you do something, you actually question yourself. Why am I doing this? Is it to please you? Is this what my job should entail? Am I doing the work that I'm supposed to be doing? And you question those. So if I realize that this is konekana, niko sawa na either bossy or I want to get some favors, man, check yourself. Check yourself.
So there you go, Leonard. Itabidi ujita kamkutano. Ask yourself very hard questions. Get the answers to that and act accordingly. At the end of the day, we are remaining true to who we are. So, right. So here you are. Umepata kazi. You've grown the ranks. You've gone to different organizations. Tell us something that unaona ni kama there are mistakes that ruin your reputation at work, either from your own experience, pengine ni kitu wewe ulifanya ama ni kitu ambao watu wengine wamefanya and you're like, please young people, wherever you are, don't do this. It will ruin your reputation at work. Is there a mistake maybe you did sometime when you were growing through the ranks and you're like, I'm here to help you guys, don't do this? Betty, what would you say about those mistakes we make that really do have negative impacts to our reputation at work?
Sijaifanya makosa. I'm a good girl.
Good girl.
I'm a good girl.
Yani hata tu ile one day uli sleep.
I've never slept.
Really?
I'm an army child. So but some of the mistakes I've seen young people do right now, I'm speaking as a millennial because I have Gen Zs that I've been monitoring as well. It's good to strike a balance between your individuality and professionalism. If you don't strike that balance, it's going to mess your work environment. Do you know I have instances whereby a Gen Z will have some parties over the weekend, then they'll just call me, niaje bosi, mi zangu zimeshika siwezi come job Monday. You know, there's this sort of pride that comes from that kind of comment from that Gen Z, but it's something that can really mess you up. Imagine the number of times that this individual has been called out by the HR for such cases. So you'd rather have other cases that can be manageable but not drunkenness. There's a way you can manage yourself. like I said, striking a balance between individuality and professionalism.
All right.
Yes.
Emmanuel,
Where?
as you were growing,
How she seems like she was good. Me from the probation time, things were shaky.
ulichoma wapi?
So-
Ushaichoma wapi ndio sasa mtu mwingine anakusikiza,
Yeah.
they learn from that. We don't have to make all the mistakes. Let's
Yes,
learn
yes,
from
yes.
other people's mistakes. What was yours?
For me, the two things that come into mind: integrity being one, but now the second one that I had a challenge with, time management. So knowing when to leave home, una calculate traffic, everything, how long will it take me to get to work, so that you're there on time. For some of us, where it's a branch, and there are particular times when they lock the door. Ukiwa hapo umesleke in the first few months, and I think it was 3 to 4, consistently. I'm there, I'm like, I haven't calculated how long it will take me given traffic. So I'm showing up late, nimefungwa nje ya branch. I'm thinking, but I'm good. I'm just,
Yeah.
seeing how this goes. Sijaanza kazi, I'm not dealing with the cash or serving customers. Hey, I was sat down. I was told, if you do not change, brother,
Yeah.
hiyo mlango inakungojea.
Right.
But that was also a challenge to me, to just understand that despite whether you have the high responsibility or low responsibility, show up when you're supposed to show up.
Right.
Time is time. Be honorable, one, to your employer, to yourself,
Yes.
and to the colleagues that you have.
Yeah.
And do what is required of you at that time.
Right.
So I just had to grow up, for lack of a better word. Nilifanya ni mature kiasi,
Yeah.
ndo I adjust.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
the aspect of time management.
Time
And I
management.
like what you said, whether it's a senior role, a
Yeah.
junior role, whatever it is, if it's 8, it's
Irrespective.
8.
Yes.
All right. So I'll come back to you, Anne. You know, a lot of young people at the moment, and this is according to data from the Kenya National Bureau of Statistics, 16.3% of the young people are not in school, they're not in employment, they're not in training. So when an opportunity comes, it's a big deal. And sometimes it's new, it's change. You don't know how to deal with this. You understand?
Yeah.
So from where you sit and from the different young professionals you've handled over time, ile makosa ambayo tunafanya kwa sana ni gani? Emmanuel ilikuwa proper management of time.
Yeah.
But on top of that, what are those other mistakes that you'll speak to the young people this morning to
Yeah.
avoid making?
Yeah, and the first thing for them to understand is that you don't have to know everything. It's good to ask a question.
Right.
Sometimes you make a mistake because you do a thing the way you think it should be done, and maybe it will be detrimental to the organization. So the mistake is not asking for help. Sometimes it's okay to cross-check. How should I do this and this thing? Go and ask help from a colleague, if not from your colleague, from your in charge. And sometimes most organizations give you a mentor when you come in. So if you're not so sure about what you're supposed to do, the good thing is to ask, how should I do with this and how
Right.
should I carry myself? Time management is a big one.
Yes.
Yeah. Just being on time, leaving your home earlier. Na kwanza ukichelewa perennially, kila saa unachelewa. Kuna ile siku kuna jam yenye uja predict and it's okay. And that's an outlier. But if every other day
You're late.
you're keeping on coming late, there's a problem there. So it's for you to adjust yourself. How long can I time myself so
Right.
that I get there on time?
Right.
And basically just not following procedures as they should be. When people join organizations, they are given procedures. You know, there's that orientation thing. Yeah, and just not following those things that are expected of you.
Right.
And generally it's just to ask, just to find out what is the expectation.
Right.
Yeah. And
Ask for
following
help
that.
as
Yeah.
much as possible.
Yeah.
So tunaona hiyo tumesema time management, come on time. Kama
Yes.
ni 8 ni 8. But kunakuwa na ile kitu ingine ya pia usikwange wa kwanza kwenda home. Is there a low key basket wale wa 4:55
Kazi yangu inaisha
4:55
Yeah.
they are gone.
Yeah.
Na kuna ule mwenye hata 7 ako hapo kwa office, you're like sawa mami. You understand? So is that also part of a deal breaker? Is it okay to, you know, at least saa zingine kaka job tukuone ukido extra, you know?
It could be an opportunity for you to learn something new.
Yeah.
If probably your day is packed and you still want to, remember we were talking about negotiation. Unaweza enda useme hata nimelearn kufanya hii kazi ya this other person. That extra time you could use it Of course it's not forced on you to stay, it's initiative. Unajituma, unasema leo nataka kujua Emmanuel anafanyanga nini. Kesho unaenda kwa Betty, what do you do?
Okay.
It's just a sacrifice you make as you look at how do I progress, how do I create value for myself.
So watu wa 455 jamani, mjaribu baki kidogo.
But Anne,
Yes.
what do you do if maybe someone is a poor timekeeper?
Yeah.
You're supposed to be at work at 8 and leave at 5 p.m. But if I get to work at 8:30, I mostly leave work at 7 p.m. Why is it an issue to the HR? Say for example, I'm the kind of person that sometimes I leave work at 9 p.m. So if I leave work at 9 p.m, the next day definitely I won't be at work by 8 a.m. just because it has definitely disrupted my sleep schedule.
Yeah.
Okay. So what do you do in such cases as a HR? Yeah.
So some organizations have flexi hours.
Yes.
They'll allow you to come in early and leave early. For some, you can come in later and leave later.
Yeah.
But if the job demands that you all be there, supposing you're in an organization where that needs a customer to be served at 8, and you're the one offering the service, and you're not there at 8, what happens?
Right.
It costs the organization. So it's good to work with the rules. Of course, the employer is not punishing you to say you must come between 8 and 5. There's a reason for that. Yeah.
All right, great. So now let's move on to those rules that are in the company
Yeah.
that they do not tell you when giving you the offer letter. You figure them out as you go. I'll start with one. Kunelo unaambiwangwa, make sure everything is documented. No word of mouth.
Yes.
If you say, please do not word of
Yeah.
mouth anything.
Yeah.
Make sure it's either on email or a message somewhere, and those are things that you'll not be told day one pale kwa HR as you get your offer letter. So I'd like to hear from you, Emmanuel. What was that unspoken rule that you found in your organization and you kind of had to learn the hard way?
Kuongea nyingi saa zingine. You may have great ideas.
Right.
You may hear a conversation going, and sometimes you need to look at the room, read the room. What is required of you? You need to sometimes learn, and I am still learning this, to, if you have an idea, if that's not the moment for it to be shared, write it down. Usiongee tu. Because it may be a senior person that's gone before you. You're thinking, sir, let me show you how smart I am. The chances I have the solution for you. That problem, I've sorted it out.
I got
this is the solution.
Yeah.
But at that point, maybe that's not what is needed.
Okay.
Because the boss here has talked. Anything, and chances are for them, if they talk and they finish the meeting, anyone that comes after, by the way, that idea, as good as it is, won't be taken up. Because
Right.
it looks like disrespect.
Right.
So I think the aspect of knowing when to speak, being able to hold back, reserve, write things down, and then if it takes an email to now share the idea, do an email.
Go ahead and
or
do
if you're
it.
in a lift, na mkutane, it's like, hey sir, the topic you are talking about.
By the way, I was
By
thinking.
the, I was thinking 1, 2, 3. What do you think?
Right.
Such aspects.
Good.
So just learning the social intelligence on when to speak, when not to speak.
Read the room.
Read the room.
All right, Betty, what was that unspoken rule that you had to learn in the different workspaces you've been on? Ni nini huko unajua hawakukuandikia kwa offer letter, but once you got inside there you realize, haya, kuna format huku guys.
The one I want to talk about was in the offer letter, but maybe I didn't quite understand how it's supposed to be done, especially things to do with the dress code in the banking industry. I love flashy things. I love beautiful outfits, But then when I got to the bank, people were wearing suits and all that. I love dresses. So sometimes when I'd walk into the office, I'd be told, no, this dress is not for the banking industry. So in fact, sometimes it's not even, it's decent, It's a decent dress, but there's even a time I got suspended and told to go home and change into something that fits the banking standard, then I come back. So along the way I had to learn, and actually it's good to conform to what people have in a certain industry. So we dress differently in different industries. In fintech we dress differently, in banking we dress differently, and it's something that I got to embrace along the way.
All right.
But
you
dress
figured it
code,
out as you
dress code. Even the high heels, the heels you wear also matter,
Right.
not the flashy heels. There's a statement heel that you're supposed to wear.
All right.
Specifically from Bata, so you
Yeah.
can imagine, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Unspoken rules. Yeah, okay. Do you know when to speak, when not to speak. Yake ni dressing, mimi nimewaambia yangu ya document everything. Don't word of mouth here. You understand? And I just want to come to Anne before I now come to the questions and feedback. Please keep sending them in. I'll be reading them shortly. But before then, Anne, here are some rules that Aziko kwa offer letter, HR hajakwambia, you've gone to your director, you've met them, they haven't said these things, but once you now meet the people that you're working with, you start seeing these rules za huku na kuna za hapa, right? So you're supposed to conform to them, ama to, me I'm new, I'll do what I'm supposed to do. Is it rules zenyu? How do you maneuver that? Yeah.
So before I say how you maneuver that, let me say what employers do to already address that thing before. So there's an onboarding process. When an employee comes in, there's an onboarding process. Unaambiwa, you know, the other things that are not in the offer letter. Then there are other systems that employers use. There's something we call mentorship and buddy system. So I will assign Emmanuel or Betty, somebody else who has been in the organization, to either help them with the skills for the job, but also amchanue
siri za ndani
zenye we cannot put on the letter. An example is watu enda lunch wapi huku. Parking ya nani ndio ufai kuguza.
Usiweke gari hapa.
So the employer also goes ahead to help. Now, there's also something to apply wisdom, and I like the word he used, social intelligence. That sometimes ni vizuri kukaa kwanza uobserve. How do things work out here? Then now you will, and if you're not sure, you have that buddy or that person who you can, you know, feel like ebu nikuulize huku kunaendanga aje for this and this thing. Because it will save you a lot of drama.
Right.
And what you might feel is you speaking your mind may be interpreted as disrespect.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that. All right. So now I do want to read some of the feedback that we have coming in through our social media platforms. Isaac on Zoom, anasema, I've been here for 10 minutes and I already love this. This is exactly what I needed. Oh, thank you, Isaac. Our hashtag is let's go, let's grow. So we want to see you go and grow. Thank you for being here. Nathan, who's also streaming in on Zoom, anasema, sometimes after graduation, one can find himself in some casual jobs and they include in CV. But once you get formal employment, the new employer insists on recommendations from that former casual employer, which may not be possible to get. How can one go about this? So amefanya casual jobs, all right? Alafu sasa finally amepata formal employment and the employer is asking for a recommendation from the casual job and inakuwa ngumu kupata the recommendation that is needed. So how do you handle that? Just casual jobs and then now you have a proper job, you don't have the, you know, recommendation that is needed. How do you handle that?
All right. So the references, sometimes, not unless it is really tied to the job that you're doing and you want to check, usually some references, especially watu wakiingia job the first time, you find mtu anaeka reference ya principal wao wa shule, you know, or somebody they worked with during the internship. And so you can have many people to put. If that one is not forthcoming, then you can't force them to give it to you.
Right.
So then now what we'll be checking for, we will be checking for during the probation period. Remember, we have that as a fallback.
Right.
Yeah.
All right. Great. Thank you for that. So don't panic. Kama umekosa hiyo ya casual job, you can put other people who can recommend you, but also remember that's where the probation period will be very necessary for you.
Yes.
All right. So Benjamin on Facebook, I support you in that aspect of the first job where you don't have the negotiating power and maybe just accept what is on the table. What advice can you give? Anauliza, I support you in that aspect of the first job where you don't have the negotiating power and maybe just accept what is on the table. What advice can you give? So ni kama anauliza, it's their first job, mumesema mtu hana negotiating power, should they just accept what is given to them? Hata kama ni kidogo sana. Mumesema it's the first job, hiyo ni ya kwanza. But yeye anaona hii ya kwanza, ai, ni kidogo sana. What advice can you give for that?
So you have two options there. you could also reject the offer. Kama unasikia ni kidogo sana, you could try somewhere else. But initially, the first job, most people don't choose. And so it's for you to ask yourself, other than the salary, what else am I benefiting from this job? And there are people who have taken pay cuts to get a skill. So it depends with what is your goal. Are you also interested in growing the skill? The salary might not be as good, but it's giving you an opportunity to enhance your skills.
Great. So rejecting is also an option.
Yeah, you could say pesa.
But you have to really think through it before you do that, because that could be your entry to some very good things in the future. All right. So Nathan on Zoom anasema sometimes a family member can help you locate an opportunity, and in return they demand you help them pay for a loan facility they have.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Is that ethical? For sure. Baka make a question mark. Yani, hii ni ungwala jameni. I'm even interpreting it in Swahili. I think it's just what you say.
Hiyo ni ka blackmail. Nimekusaidia so
it's not ethical for sure, but as you grow, just see how you can help them in a space where you're also not strained and don't feel like you're responsible for the loan. I think. Sindio? Hiyo loan alichukua akifanya mambo yake jamani. Mrs. Signatory. Alright, so let's talk about growth. Both of you have grown, alright? You got a job in 3 months, junior position, after that, product head. Same as you've worked for several years and now you are customer success manager. You've been in that role for 7 months. Kuna kitu ambacho umefanya for you to get that visibility and for you to get that growth. What is that skill that you think has put you on that space where they didn't even struggle thinking twice about who to give this position? Emmanuel, this is yours. We've seen it. What do you think are those skills that you can advise other young people to try? It will help them with growth and also being noticed in the company.
For me, what I can clearly point out, one is character. So the character that you do play when you're carrying out your job is very important. I remember for this current position, or rather the position that I had before this, I'd applied for it, but HR sent, we regret. And if you've applied the first time, usitume apili. But all of a sudden, the bank has a campaign. Here I am at the branch. We are preparing for customers to come in on the day. And one of my staff members pushes me. It's like, by the way, show us how Gen Zs do this thing. Because the campaign was for young people. So all of a sudden, we start doing a dance. I'm there, I'm teaching them. We're doing a video. The branch manager shares that video in her group. And those are different levels of people, and categories of people that are there. And that in and of itself is what gave HR the chance to be able to earmark me. And they called, and it's like, hey, who's this kid? What do they do? What's their character like? It wasn't even, yes, they asked about your work and everything, but what's their character like? Are they diligent? Do they work well? How are they with people? So I'd say your character, one, is very important. I do realize that now you get to new levels and you need to upskill yourself, but there are aspects where also character plays a huge role, I believe. And that's what happened to me.
Jitume tu, whatever it is, jitume tu.
Hata kama ni kudance.
You never know who's watching. It's a perfect. Like for you, you were just showing people how to dance and just do the thing, and then here you are.
Man.
Well done. Good stuff. All right, so there's another question. Mtu alikuwa anauliza, they're an entrepreneur and a student, and they're not even getting enough time to balance that with family. Hata anajikuta haongei na familia. Betty, have you found yourself in a place where you're overwhelmed? Life is moving very fast. Your social life is not there anymore. And you don't even have time for family. There's school, there's growth. Ndo huyu hapa anaitwa Tyrese anasema, I'm a young entrepreneur and a student. This has led me to be distant from family. At times I don't even get time to communicate with them. How do I balance all this? Yeah. Have you been overwhelmed?
Yes, I've been overwhelmed before. And I love being honest. That was in the banking industry. Still a young girl, joined this organization, still trying to understand how the corporate culture works. Because I remember I started as a team leader in the call center space. Then I took initiative and built my own contact center predictive dialing campaign. Then I got promoted to card operations officer. I remember I used to overwork. I get to the office by 7:45 a.m. because there are some files I was supposed to send at that particular time before everyone goes to the office. Still, I leave the office past midnight, go home, I have no time to talk to my parents, and it got to a point where I just quit my job. Yes, because it took a toll on my own personal life, and I couldn't even communicate to my parents, my siblings, and I felt like it's not worth it.
All right.
Yes, but when it comes to the question that has been put on screen, I believe Anne is a better place to respond.
And not everyone has the option of quitting the job.
Yes.
All right. So
Yeah.
just very briefly before we move to the next aspect, how do they strike that balance?
Yeah.
Si kila mtu atamka aseme, it's taking too much time, I'm quitting.
Yeah.
You need that job so much.
Yes.
So what do?
It's a tricky question because sometimes the workloads are not even informed by the employer. Sometimes you can find like the whole banking hall. Let me give an example of what she's saying in the banking. Imeja. Utaanza kusema sasa mimi sitaki hii kazi. Of course, it's for you to find healthy times to take breaks. If you're overwhelmed, it's okay to come and say, I think my workload is too high and I'm struggling. There's nothing wrong with coming and saying that my workload is heavy. And if for sure the employer sees that your workload is heavy, the employer will lighten the load for you.
Okay.
Sometimes they might not. And it's for you now to also adjust and also understand. If you feel that it is too much, there's the option to leave, but majority of the people don't have that option.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's to
speak
find
to your boss,
resilience
yeah.
and maybe even speak to
your
the
boss.
boss
All
to
right.
see whether the workload can be lightened.
All right, great. So here you are, you've got your jobs, you've started making money, life is becoming better by the day, promotion day you may check in, life is getting eco-based sasa. It was better, lakini sahi eco-based, all right? So just help us learn, in the process of handling money. You know, also handling a lot of money is strange. Inaweza kukupigisha chenga ingine hujaiona because you're not used to, this amount of money coming in. So as you kind of learn on the job how to handle the money. Emmanuel, a financial mistake you made?
Mimi, let me just say financial but also personal. And this is now you have your own keja, you've moved out, you think, man, the first thing, this house needs to look spotless. So you overspent on things that are not supposed to be spent on. So niko hapo nimenunua 5 liters jik. 6 a man. I was new. I was new, honestly. But
Extra
yes,
shopping.
that extra shopping, and sometimes just having a friend to go with, or your family to just guide you. Hey, by the way, I'm entering this new space. How do I handle home business? What is enough? What is the particular amount I need to use for food? So may have spent a lot on making sure house is clean.
Are you like a neat freak?
Tusiongee hiyo, but I like things orderly. But yes, so I had less for food that month, and you have to now struggle through because you can't go to a shop and exchange the jik now for bread and ugali. But the aspect of knowing how to spend your money when you first get it, or when you've just started realizing or discovering what life is, that is a financial mistake I hope never
to make again unnecessary shopping.
Yes.
All right, Betty, a financial mistake you made?
I've always had my income increase from employer to employer. So every time I get my salary increase, I always thought that I need a better house. I need a beautiful space. I need this, I need that. So it's trained me in a bad way, but there's a time I got to a realization that it's good to save. It's good to have some savings. It's good to budget your money.
Right.
And there's no one to impress out here.
Okay.
Because I remember back then, girls used to have this thing of, my fridge is all stocked up and all that. And I actually realized that is the most unhealthy decision I made for myself back then. You're just stocking your fridge with a lot of unhealthy drinks and stuff just to show people, my fridge is stocked. Me, I have done shopping.
Social media
YouTube lifestyle, Look at my fridge.
lifestyle influencers wana post their houses, unashinda kwani mimi nakulanga nini hizi yake?
The most unhealthy.
Yeah, no, right? Okay. So once you realize you're also living in an expensive house for no reason, did you like move out and look for a reasonable house?
Yes, I did.
Great.
Yeah.
Mtu anaona makosa yake na anajikosoa.
Unajikosoa.
Well done. Thank you. So maybe we can check some more feedback that is coming in. Remember here, we are so keen on making sure that you are part of the conversation, and we have Willis on Zoom anasema, what if you have the appropriate skills and experience and you find an entry-level job paying so low? You love the job, but the pay cannot even sustain you in town, leave alone black tax, but you alone, it can't maintain you. I think you answered
Yes,
that,
I
Anne.
answered
Ulisema,
that, yeah.
weigh your options. Kama ni ngumu sana wachana nayo. But if you can use it to grow your ranks, use it.
Yeah.
So yeah, Willis, jaribu sana uangalie if you can just grow your ranks within the organization, but ikikata sana, try and apply elsewhere.
Yeah.
All right, so we do have another one. We really want to take up your feedback as much as possible. We hope Willis umepata the solution for that. Let's check in another one on X. Jathort anasema, what should a first-time employee focus on more? Learning as much as possible or trying to prove their value quickly? I like that question. What are the biggest mistakes young professionals make in the first year and how can we avoid them? I think the biggest mistakes you had answered, but huyo ameuliza, what should I focus on more? Is it learning? Am showing what I got? She'll be answering that. And but also on Zoom we have Abel Kiptum anasema, I recently got an entry job and I'm having a hard time with communication. Maybe I'm still nervous. Guide me on how to improve. Abel, we got you. Tunakupatia tu jibu sahi. All right. So, Anne.
Yes.
Nimeingia kazi hivi. Kitu cha kwanza nafaa kufocus nacho. Is it to learn as much ama prove? Guys, mimi ndio bazu sasa. Wacha nionyeshe venye kitu yufanywa. So what do I do?
Ukianza kuprove kwanza itakulipukia vibaya. So I think the best thing is to learn as much as possible.
Right.
Learn and don't be afraid to ask.
Right.
And people look at asking questions like weakness. It's not a weakness. It's really you trying to get to know how is this thing done. Then you even find that, oh, you do it this way. I think there is a better way to do it. You can also bring innovation even as you learn and make work easier.
Right.
So focus, I would say, is to learn and learn and learn.
All right.
Ukilearn, ukifanya, itajiprove yenyewe.
Okay. Usikuwe na ile kimbelembele ya kutaka kuoneshana hapa mimi ndio bazu. Kuja polepole. Come slowly. Tread lightly. All right. So learn fast and then slowly just start showing what you're doing. It will show itself. Wanasema ile methali, chema chajuza something kinajitembeza, but you get the point. That one. The one. Mwenye anaijua tutaipia hapo, but it's something like that. And then we have Philemon Makori on Zoom. Anasema, what's the best approach in job search? Are job sites the best option or social media? Oh yeah. Mtu sasa hana wale wa kumrecommend ni kujitafutia. What sites would you recommend them to go to? Yeah.
So it depends on the industry. Most organizations now are posting on their websites, so you can check on the websites. There are also social media platforms for different organizations. They post their opportunities there. So that's a good place to look.
Right.
Of course, don't lose out the referral part. You can tell people, hey, I'm looking out for a job. If you hear anything, niambie.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Philemon, I hope Philemon tumekusaidia hapo. Keep checking the website. Referrals are also very important. Rebecca anasema, nimejaribu kutafuta kibarua sipati hata volunteering. Looking at all the sites and I can say my applications imepita 1,000. What else can I do? Hata ya kuvolunteer hapati. Yeah. And you know it's insane because employment in Kenya has become very, very difficult for young people. So I totally understand her. So I think just don't give up.
Don't give up, and they could probably start something in the area of passion. I mean, we've been talking about it in the previous series to say what then can you be doing in the meantime, because utakaa hapo useme sasa zimekosekana, I'll just sit pretty. So is there something you can be doing maybe even if it's an area of passion that can be bringing income in the meantime as you search.
Right. Great. So umesikia Rebecca, jaribu hata kama unaweza anza kabiashara kadogo mahali. You never know. Unaweza, something can come up. But also keep looking. Keep searching. This world is for those who never give up. All right. All right. So as we wrap up, I'm going to give you each 30 seconds to kuna ile kitu, don't just work for the salary. All right?
Yeah.
And someone wants to grow. Mtu hataki kuamka tu kila siku ni kwenda job kutafuta pesa ya kulipa bills and that's it. So that person who really wants to grow in that corporate job that they're doing, in 30 seconds, Betty, what can you tell them?
Take initiative. And just a reminder that your degree is just a foundation, but if you want to grow your career, you need to work on your experiences and your skills. So work on some certifications that are going to help you become a better person.
Right.
So the key word is take initiative.
Jitume.
Jitume.
In Kiswahili ni kujituma.
Jitume kabisa.
Jitume baba.
Yeah.
Sawa. Emmanuel?
And to add on to what she said, so that I don't repeat, now the people you surround yourself with. Surround with people that are even much further than you.
Right.
Yes.
And start hanging out in those circles. Because you're able to pick 1, 2, 3 that you never used to perceive before. Because at a lower level, you don't think about how the higher ups think. So start surrounding yourself there.
Right.
Whether it's friends, jobo, internships, put yourself out there and in
So
those.
hapo watu wa kutoka 455 hawata manage.
Ngumu.
Itakuwa ngumu kidogo. So hang around them and
Yes.
okay, that's a good point. I like it. Finally, as we wind up, Anne.
Yes.
I'm going to task you with winding up ukituambia kama sometimes you intern somewhere and you really hope they call you back. Am I allowed to call after nimemaliza sasa shule and absorb me, guys? I was good during internship. Do you allow that as you wrap up?
Yeah, so for the internship, it depends again. So if it's an organization where you were able to, talk to whoever was in charge, you might tell them, I'm looking for a job, could you please consider me? And if your job spoke for itself, chances are they will pick you.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
So,
thank you so
as well.
much, Anne. Thank you, Emmanuel. Thank you,
Asante.
Betty. I am inspired, and I know the viewers are as well. Thank you so much to everyone who has been streaming in across our social media platforms. Today, the focus was on youth in employment. Once you get the job, what next? We do hope you've learned a thing or two, and we're looking forward to seeing you going and growing.
Yeah.
Remember, our hashtag here is
Let's
Let's Go,
Go,
Let's
Let's
Grow.
Grow.
Thank you so much, and just in case you have topics that you'd like for us to discuss, please feel free to drop us an email on webinar@copbank.co.ke. We will be more than happy to tailor-make a conversation that suits you. We'll see you again next week on Friday, same place, same time. Until then, have yourselves a fantastic weekend and week. My name is Violetta Ngina. Goodbye.